Hi guys, and welcome to another episode of Dial It Up. Today we're going to be talking about theme teams. Theme teams theme teams are a game element that were introduced back in 2007 when characters were given character cards, which gave you a whole bunch of more information about the characters themselves. What this also added were keywords. Keywords are the fundamental of how to build theme teams in this game. What a keyword is that when you see a character's card, underneath their name, you're going to have these little words. And all of these words are keywords to let you know what kind of theme that these characters fit into. So I've got Black Lantern Aquaman right now. His keywords are Black Lantern Core and Monster. Now there are two types of keywords in this game. There are named keywords and generic keywords. Now, as of earlier in this year, 2014, with the introduction of Superman and the Legion of Superheroes, generic keywords started to be italicized on a character's card, which made it a lot easier to differentiate between a named keyword and a generic keyword. If you have character cards from before 2014, the rule of thumb is basically just the definition of what generic versus named is. Generic, you're going to be looking at animal, police, scientist, soldier, monster. With named, you're going to be looking at Avengers, X-Men, Central City Police, Gotham City, anything that actually has an actual name in it and not just a generic broad spectrum of what that word could mean. So when you're building a theme team, you're going to be using keywords. What you want to do is make sure that everybody on your team shares one keyword. They can share multiple keywords, but to make an actual theme team, you want to make sure that everybody has the same keyword on their character cards. Without sharing one single keyword across the entire spectrum of your force constructed team, then you're not a theme team. So whether you're named or generic, as long as you have at least two characters on your team, you are a theme team. Now, when I do say two characters, all I mean is if you're playing a one-man army, you're not a theme team. He has to at least work with someone to make it a team. So whether you have two characters or 10, as long as every single character on your team shares one singular keyword, you are considered a theme team. Now there are ways around this if a character doesn't have the keyword that you want. In certain characters like, say, Cosmic Boy, who Welcome to the Legion, gives a character the Legion of Superheroes keyword. Or Amanda Waller, who's recruiting for the Suicide Squad, gives a character the Suicide Squad keyword. Onto that, there is also the entities who are under the watch list, so this may change, but as of right now, entities will also give their keywords to the character that they are possessing. Now, the entities go that one step further in the fact that they are still a character on your force during force construction, which means that they are going to count either for a theme team or against a theme team. And what I mean by that is that if you have, for instance, I have entity here who is a White Lantern. If you have a White Lantern team, but you decide you wanted to put Deadpool, because he's here, Deadpool on there. By possessing Deadpool with entity, you are giving him the White Lantern keyword, and now everybody on your team is a White Lantern and you have a theme team. However, if you are making a Deadpool core team and everybody on your team has the Deadpool core team word and you decided to possess him with entity, he now has the White Lantern keyword, entity, and cosmic keywords that he's getting from entity, but however, entity is not getting the Deadpool core keyword. So now that theme team that you had lined up is broken. The important thing to note about keywords and theme teams is that for any bonuses that you get with being a theme team, your only requirements is to have a theme team during force construction. So if you have a character, say like First Lantern or Krona, or even this Deadpool himself, who's going to take away keywords, that happens during the game. You're still considered a theme team, even though you no longer have those keywords inside the game. You started the game during Force Construction as a theme team, so you are still considered a theme team. So now we're going to go into what theme team actually does for you. So one of the first benefits that you get from being a theme team is the initiative roll. At the beginning of the game, before anything happens, both opponents roll off to see who is going to be the first player. If you have a theme team, you get to have +1 to your initiative roll for every single character that you have in your theme team, so long as it is a theme team and they all have a keyword. Now, why I say that when I was talking about breaking keywords is that there are times when you may have a bystander on your team. Bystanders do not break theme team. They are characters that do not have keywords, which means they're not going to make or break a theme team for you. And how to distinguish whether they are a bystander is that the collector number actually on their POG, or if they are a physical copy, the collector number on there will have a B or an H before their number. That means bystander or horde token. If they do not have these letters before their collector number, they are not a bystander. So if you're looking at, say, the Spider Bots or Toyman's Toys, those are actual characters and they will make or break your theme team. So getting +1 to your initiative roll. So with making a theme team, you do get benefits to whether you're going to be the first player or not. That also means that your opponent could be a theme team, and if he's got more characters than you on his theme team, he might still beat your roll off, but you do have a better chance than if you had no theme team at all. The next benefit that you get from being a theme team is additional team abilities, otherwise known as ATAs. Now, this is a brand new rule that has been introduced as of the 2014 rulebook, is that ATAs can only be put on theme teams. You can be either named or generic, it doesn't make a difference, but you have to be a theme team to be able to legally put an ATA on your team during Force Construction. Now, how ATAs work is that they are team abilities that are given to your team that adds just an extra kind of bonus ability as to what everybody on your team is going to be doing. Theme teams, ATAs, what they do is they're going to have a required keyword. So at the top of the ATA, you can print them off of Heroclix actual website under the rules section and print and play. Then you're going to have a required keyword, so that's going to tell you what keyword you need to be able to have this ATA on your team. It's going to tell you the power of what the ATA does, and at the bottom it's going to put a cost. Now the cost is usually low. I think the highest point is maybe 8, maybe 10 points, but usually they're in the realm of 1 to 5. Now to have an ATA on your team, you have to pay for every single character on your team that has that required keyword. So if you have, say, the White Lantern Corps ATA, and you have 4 White Lanterns on your team, you're going to be paying that 4 cost 4 times, 1 for each Corps member. The other bonus with ATAs is that they do not have to be the keyword that your team is made up of. So if you have a theme team, say the X-Men theme team, and you are fielding Wolverine and Beast, who both also have the Avengers keyword, you can put the Dark Avengers ATA on there because both of those 2 characters have Avengers. So with them, you'd only be paying the ATA cost twice because nobody else on your team has the Avengers keyword in order to pay for that ATA. That also means that only those 2 characters are going to have access to that ATA because that is an ability you are giving specifically to them, not the entire team. And when we were talking about losing keywords, if you lose your keyword for whatever reason, be it a character, an effect, there's lots of things in this game and they keep throwing more in there. So if there's anything that's going to cause you to lose the keyword that you are using the ATA for, then you no longer have access to that ATA because you no longer have the keyword required in order to use it. It's still going to be scored if that character is KO'd, and any other rules along those lines is still going to be in effect, but you will not have access to that ability if you do not have the keyword required for it. The final bonus that you get for being a theme team is something called Theme Team Probability Control. Now this works almost like any other probability control. However, since it is an ability granted only to theme teams, it does have some of certain restrictions. One of which being that this is an ability that is only given to named theme teams. So if you have a soldier or animal generic generic theme team, you're not going to get the probability control. This is another rule change that was made within the 2014 rulebook and is still fairly new to certain players. So what the theme team probability control does is that it gives you one use of probability control for every character with the theme team keyword up until every 100 points of the build. Now, that does sound convoluted and a little strange, but believe me, it's a lot easier than how they used to have it. It used to be a very confusing chart that was on the back of the rulebook that everybody had a hard time wrapping their head around. And you always had to refer to, I'm like, okay, I've got 5 people, how many theme props do I have? Now it's easier. If you have a 2-character team, you get 2 theme props. If you have a 3-character team, you get 3 theme props. However, if you have a 4-character team, but the build total is only 300 points, you're only getting 3 theme props. So, like I said, you're getting 1 for each character up until the 100 points of the build. So, 2 characters within 300 points, 2 theme props. 4 characters within 300 points, 3 theme props, so on and so forth. So it actually is, once you get it into your head, a lot easier than the chart that they used to have you use. So now that you have your pool of theme props, you get to use them up. So however you want to track them, either a D6 or tokens or what have you, and you take one away to be able to use probability control. On top of that, there are a few restrictions in order to use this use of probability control. The first is that the character must possess the keyword. This goes back to me saying that you can have bystanders on your team. If you do have bystanders on your team, they don't have the keyword, so they're not going to be able to use a theme prop for you. And also, talking about losing keywords, if you have a character that has somehow lost its theme team keyword, like this Deadpool who says, screw you with keywords, I don't need you, he no longer can use the theme prop. The next thing is that the character must not have already been given a non-free action that turn. So if it was given an action to do whatever, anything that causes it to take an action token, so a non-free action, it cannot be given the action to do a theme team probability control. The next one is that they must not already be able to use probability control. This goes back to another episode I did about getting game effects and abilities through another source when you already have it on your dial, is that you're not going to be able to stack and double. If you can already use a power, you can't use it. So this still abides by that rule. If you can already use probability control, you're not going to get to use probability control through theme prop. The next one is that a character can only theme prob once. Even if they had started with no action tokens, and you can take up to 2 action tokens, a single character can only use theme prob once in a single turn, much like you can only use probability control once in a single turn. The final requirement for theme prob is that a character has to be given an action token to be able to use this theme prob. So theme prob is, or probability control, is normally a free action, doesn't require an action token, but this specific special use of probability control does give you an action. So that was theme teams. If there's anything you guys think I didn't cover, you have any comments or questions, just leave them below and I'll get to them as soon as I can. And we'll see you next time for another episode of Dial It Up.